Honcast.com presentation. I'm Ricky CBK. Going to be one of your 3 podcast notes tonight. Joining me is Xander K, S2 Games Community Manager, as well as Ziori, of course, the shoutcaster for Heroes of New Earth. And this is the Honcast Weekly Podcast. This is the post-DreamHack edition. Of course, we just had that huge event that we all just witnessed, and it was a damn good one at that. Of course, coming off of that event, figured we'd, it deserves, for the most part, at least a good part of the podcast to talk about. It definitely was a pretty big deal. So, excited to be here for that, of course. Can't wait to get into some discussion about it. But first things first, throw it on the board. How you doing, Ken?
Little sick, Bricky, but not that bad outside of that. You got that good old event sickness, but, you know, what are you going to do? Besides that, just excited to be doing what we're doing over at S2. This patch this coming Friday is going to be super exciting. And, that's my story.
Yeah, obviously, when you do a lot of traveling like that, there was quite a bit of staff that got sick. I am lucky and safe to say that I felt fine. I don't know what the deal is. So
still not sure how you managed that.
I don't know either. You didn't sleep. You were talking a lot. You didn't even lose your voice.
I'm just immune to that stuff now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the last few years we lost our voices. Big time.
Definitely. Especially the first time. I was completely gone. But I guess it's something, just adapt to. What can I say? Ziori, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I think I doomed myself. I was like, yes, I didn't get sick. I can't believe it. And then, of course, 2 days after DreamHack, I exploded into sickness. So I'm a little feeling better, but still a little stuffy as well. Just trying to, be unsick and whatnot. I took a little nap this afternoon. That helped.
Yeah.
Oh, naps the last few days? Oh. Yeah. Oh, naps have been amazing.
Been a lot of napping. Been a lot of resting going on, but
yeah, been sleeping. But other than that, good. Recovering from the event. I feel like I'm back to normal. I've been riding, I guess the jet lag pony kind of as much as possible. I've been getting up at like 7 or 8 every morning and trying to stay in the routine. So trying to make the best of the traveling, even though it was sort of hellish.
It takes me like 2 days to get over that.
Well, I've been trying not to get over it.
Yeah. Nice. No, That is one thing that I will say. It seems like it's a lot more difficult than previous ones. For whatever reason, my jet lag, it's almost as if it's still with me. Like, I'm like actually getting tired right now, and it's only 6:30 here. I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to obviously adjust with it, but I'm sure very, very soon that'll happen. But yeah, that is a downside about going to an event like that. But man, wouldn't trade it for the world. Obviously, once again, a great event. Had a lot of fun. 4th time me personally going. I believe it's Ken. It was your second. And Ziori, technically your second. First time as a caster, though. So
yeah, as I say, my first with any responsibility.
Yeah, very true. So yeah, it was a hell of an event, of course, and already looking forward to DreamHack Winter. As funny as that sounds, but yeah, this I can definitely say for certain there's plans for DreamHack Winter, and looking forward to going back once again. So, but I mean, I guess we'll kick it off as far as this podcast goes. By the way. So obviously, again, a good portion of it we're going to talk about DreamHack, post of that, but there are a couple of things that we are going to talk about as well. Of course, the top 10 community rankings is always important, and with the DreamHack event finishing up, we got our post-top 10 rankings, so we'll release those and also give our personal takes on what we thought, and then there was that locked pick mode that got introduced that, maybe worth mentioning as well later on in the podcast. So
kind of important.
So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about those things, guys. But to get it kicked off, though, again, DreamHack Summer 2012, the DreamHawn main event, the epic event that was, and of course, in case you're living under a rock or something, Fnatic Raycall are once again the DreamHack champions. So I want to throw it around the board, though, kind of give maybe about a minute spiel of what you guys thought about the event and what it meant for you. What do you think Han got out of it? So Ziori, I'll throw it to you first.
Well, I mean, for me, it was pretty amazing just as sort of a first experience being on the main stage and casting in front of all those people, and even just casting that much in such a short period of time. Mm-hmm. All that stuff for me was an incredible learning experience. So, I mean, from my perspective, there's really no way the event could have gone wrong unless I got benched right when I got there or something, which obviously wasn't the case. So it went quite well. I did post a couple of vlogs.
We thought about it, though.
Huh?
I'm thought sure. About it.
I'm sure. I would have been an expensive marketing assistant, I think, all the way out there and to be like, hey, guys, what's going on? Yeah, looks good. Yep. All right. Time for more Billy's Pizza.
Yes.
Billy.
I only had that once while I was there. I had the walk once, Billy's Pizza once. Wish I had it more. That's one thing I'm already missing about DreamHack again.
I actually was thinking about Billy's Pizza today. Sad as that is, but
it's pretty sad. The pizza donut combo.
Yeah, it's so good.
Why don't pizza places out here do that? I've never heard of that before going to Sweden.
Sounds like a business model
there,
to me. I think we could start this right now.
Lucky
Buy 2 pieces of pizza, you get a free donut. Like that's the combo meal. What?
Every
okay.
Day.
Anyway, so it was really good for me. I had a really great time, and I mean, I'm not on site at S2, so me going there, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I met a lot of people that we worked with for the first time, so for me, I had a really good time. Like I said, I posted at least that vlog #1 kind of captured some of my initial reaction. That was like the next day after I had slept for 12 hours. It's just like, I just want to talk about DreamHack to somebody, and no one wants to listen. So I just recorded a video and put it on YouTube.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, that was the next best to having a real conversation with somebody. So it was overall, I really had a nice time at DreamHack Summer.
Yeah. Ken, what was from your perspective? Obviously not on the casting side, but being the community manager and all that.
I did one game of Mid Wars.
That's right, you did.
But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work, as it always is. Role changed quite a bit between this time and the last time. The last time I was doing a lot more, hey, how you doing type of stuff. This time I was doing all the kind of coverage stuff. So I was the guy that wrote all those, wrote all the little articles, took all the pictures. Was doing a lot of different things this event. It was a good time nonetheless, though. So regardless of that, it's always nice to be out there and seeing all the fans. And the one thing that I did a lot of this time was talk with the pro players. I spent a lot of time just talking with the guys. Anyone who was there, just getting to know them a little bit better. And I think that was probably the highlight of the trip for me.
I definitely talked to a lot of players, too. That's actually a good thing to bring up, Ken. I said a couple times, it was really cool to actually be able to match the faces of the names. And I think a lot of people had that. Any kind of first-timer, I think, has that experience right away where you're just like, wow, these players are a lot different than you would think that they are, like just by watching them in-game and hearing them talk to each other. They're actually people.
Yeah, again, I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple events like this, not only DreamHack, but even the DOIA event. But every single time, still, I mean, they're not only you get to meet a lot of the same people that that have been in the Hon community, that have been players, but you get new people. Obviously BXF, all those players for the most part, pretty much new. The Southeast Asians, the Russians. I mean, you get to meet all these new guys. So it seems like every single event, there's always a chance for that, and I got to agree with you both. I mean, I think that's definitely the best part of it, and it seems like when it was all said and done as well, when Fnatic recall, they were the champions and everything. It's it's one thing to play the tournament and obviously you're all competitive and everything during it, but after the event, all the Hon players for the most part, they get along. I mean, they're good friends, and obviously it is a pretty tight knit community. And at the dinner, we all got along, all talking with one another, teams mingling with one another, and even Moon Meander was talking to Leon Black for a little. I definitely saw a bit of that. So
it's not like they have a rivalry.
It's well, who would have thought that would have ever happened? No, but yeah, it's definitely always a fun experience, and like I said, I honestly can't wait for the next event, which probably will be DreamHack winner, and because big part for that reason. So if I had to pick and choose something again, I think that would be the biggest thing. But when it's all said and done, obviously it was a lot of work, very tiresome nights. I mean, I know it sounds like we're complaining to a point, but it was. But at the same time, it was definitely worth it because I thought we had a great event. I know a lot of people, were kind of trying to bring up that DreamHack Winter may have been the better actual tournament. I don't know. I mean, I think DreamHack Summer, this recent event, actually was pretty damn solid as far as skill level went, as far as play went, and the finals maybe could have been a little bit better. The schedule did screw over a lot of things in that sense, and that was the big unfortunate part. But overall, I thought it was pretty much an exciting and awesome tournament. So it was definitely really cool seeing the Southeast Asians as well. So
yeah, that was great, and especially seeing them play without ping, and that was I think one thing that a lot of the teams took away from the event. A lot of teams were like, "Oh my God, RNG Sports is ridiculous." Like many people talked about how good they were. And that, basically the consensus was if they would learn to pick better and build their heroes better, they would wreck everyone. So that's pretty cool. So I guess look for RNG Sports coming up pretty soon.
I mean, just look, I have the stats on the screen right now, and again, you look at the individual stats. Look at the average assists per game. 4 out of the 5 players there are from Orange Esports. It just goes to show you, how aggressive and how really crazy they were when it came to sure they ended up with a 3-4 record, or 4-3, excuse me, but they were playing damn aggressive and they were really taking it to their opposition. So. Talking to several players, Orange Esports, they're very skilled individuals. It's just a matter of learning the metagame, learning the actual drafting, which everyone, speaking of that, of course, is now on a quote-unquote even ground now because of lockpicking. So maybe something will come of that. But
yeah, maybe that was sort of the level playing ground that the Orange not the Orange Esports, and the SEA scene kind of needs to be on par with everyone from the international client, who's sort of always had that leg up, mostly because of just raw hours logged, I think. You can argue that the international scene might be a little bit more competitive, or at least in the past has been vastly more competitive. So I don't know. I think a couple months from now, once lockpicking is accepted as the norm,
figured out.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just this new thing anymore. It's kind of the figured out, accepted way. These are the standard strategies, what have you. It'll be interesting to see where the SEA teams fare compared to the international teams.
Yeah. I know we're planning to talk about that later on, but yeah, lockpicking, it's kind of that refreshing, not refreshing, just kind of like a new resurgence, coming onto the scene, and it's like, what, here you go, guys. Obviously, this is a game that's been around for a while, the genre especially, but lockpicking, it definitely changes something. So. That's going to be a lot of fun, seeing where things go with that, and hopefully a big tournament comes up in the near future with it. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah. So going more like in depth though to the DreamHack event as far as like specific topics. There's a couple that come to mind. First things first. We have to go over Fnatic Rate Call, the champions. I mean. Did any of us see that coming? I mean, I know I was very skeptical about them going into the event. Not a whole lot of practice, it seemed like, but they looked pretty solid that week before with the Cooler Master event, of course, and all of a sudden, they're winning DreamHack once again. So,
yeah,
can't count them out.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, in my mind, they were always not a favorite to win, but a favorite to make it to the finals. I would say, just because. I've always valued that team experience and experience actually in a LAN setting like that, being on the main stage, over almost anything else. And I actually talked to Nova, and he said the 2 most important things are confidence and being able to play mind games with your opponents. A lot of there was, I think, a surprising amount of mind games that went on behind the scenes that, unless you know what the players are doing, you don't really pick up on it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I know Breaky and I didn't pick up on as far as hero choices, like, all right, why is Aluna being picked every game but then banned during the finals? Why is this? The teams are purposefully doing that so that the finals are something new, so they're not rinsing and repeating. TT Esports, I think they said something, Shinx told me they didn't recycle any one strategy that they had more than twice. After that, beyond that, it was all sort of unique ideas as far as how they wanted to build their teams and counter their opponents. So there's a lot of mind games that went on behind the scenes. And Nova, you got to give a lot of credit to what he says. Obviously, he's got quite a few DreamHack victories under his belt, and he's just an amazing player. So to hear him say that, confidence, being able to wake up and say, we're going to take this tournament today, it's pretty powerful. You don't normally think of those 2 things as the most important, but I think there's something to that.
Yeah. Ken, anything?
Can't argue with that. Well, I mean, I talked to Nova a lot. I talked to him a lot over the course of the event. And, I mean, getting their, just Fnatic as a whole's perspective on what to do to win a tournament is really interesting. And obviously, at this point, they're kind of experts on it. So.
Yeah, it's, let's not forget, I mean, again, they started group stage 1 and 2.
Yes, they did.
Of course, so they won their first game, I believe it was against MUFC. And then, pulling up a screen right here. Yeah, they won their first game against MUFC, but then they lost to BXF, and then, of course, they lost to Orange Esports, which, God, it's so unfortunate we didn't cast that game.
Yeah, you need to go back.
It's the one game that I have watched the replay a couple times. I've actually gone through it.
Insane.
It was an epic finish. So, there very possibly could be a time where we can go back, kind of like big matches of DreamHack that we may have missed. But, yeah, Orange defeating Fnatic in what was a crazy game, came down to the last second, literally like 3 seconds difference between Fnatic winning and Orange, so with the base race. But Orange won that, so that put Fnatic at 1 and 2. And, you know, Fnatic still had to play TDM, TT Esports. Oh, I guess those are the big 2 teams, but still, and Team It's Ghost, even, of course, who eventually came out of the BYC, like 2 big teams still. So, of course, they ended up winning out. They finished 5 and 2, which, you know, snuck them in, you know, tied for 2nd place. And sure enough, they're defeating Trademark Esports in the semifinals, pretty dominating fashion. Well, see, it's kind of funny because, and I'm curious what you guys think about this too. Do you think Fnatic was outright carried by Era this tournament? Do you think Era was the main reason for their victory, or was it as a team?
No, that's a strategic victory at its finest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the thing is that, yes, like, the team was built around getting Eric farmed, but, like, their team strategy was very sound, and what they did to accomplish that goal was very sound within the game. And that's, you know, that's what won them the tournament. It's really that Era got farmed, because, you know, Era's going to get farmed. It's the fact that they, you know, were able to put themselves in a situation where Era could get that sort of success.
What do you think, Breaky? It sort of sounds like you're about to argue the opposite here.
I don't know. I'm not about necessarily to argue the opposite. Like, I do understand that, but God, when I see a player, when I see a mage bane that's level 25 and his closest teammate is like 16, it's just pretty ridiculous. Like, the matches that he had this series on Dark Lady and Mage Bane were just. It was unbelievable just seeing him, just how far he had was not only of the opposition but even his own team. He was just so
because he was.
But, you know, they built the strategy around. I could see that, and you know they
gave him solo farm for like 40 minutes. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, they made sure that they gave him solo farm for that amount of time. So, you know, like, you're going to be behind him a little bit, but he's going to be way the hell ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Nick. I feel bad saying that. I just think you're wrong. I just think it was so much a team effort. I mean, just seeing the way they build those items, seeing that many Storm Spirits, and that one team fight where they just keep Storm Spiriting him and keep him alive and absorb all that damage. I don't know. I think once that team fight finally culminated, it became clear that it was very well planned. It was a team effort. It was just one of those, kind of like Ken said, you're hella farmed, so we're just going to sit back and let you do your thing. I mean, obviously, you might be able to say he was MVP from the tournament. I think you could say that pretty fair.
I think you could say that,
yeah. But I don't know.
Era played very well.
Feels team effort to me.
By the way, I see Sender making a point that they didn't get dominated. He's right. I did use I used the word dominated.
You got dominated.
That probably is a little bit overkill. It was actually a pretty solid series, and I think in game 1 even, or I think it was the game 2 actually, TDM was even ahead at points and looked like they had a solid chance. But
that was the no-tell disconnect game.
That's right, God. What was that, 30 to 40 minutes of pause and breaks and almost not like coming back? Yeah,
I thought they were going to win before the pause.
That was pretty ridiculous, but
that was the one time where I was like, you know what? I think Breaky and I are both completely out of things to say for the first time in my existence.
I felt bad for you guys.
Yeah,
just like I'm.
After that long event, you know, now we got this to deal with. Yeah, that was
like it's frustrating because for us we had no information to what's going on other than you know, what the players are saying in game. So Nick and I just sort of sitting there like, yep, okay, well, looks like they unplugged this computer. All right. Well.
Again, that was a downside of our setup, kind of how we're in the exhibition area. They're in the tournament area.
Plugged it back in, guys. Like it's the kind of updates we're giving people.
But you know, it sucked for the players too. I'm sure. I mean, it's just sucked for everyone. Obviously, delays suck for everyone. So, you know, it happened. It was unfortunate, but the match. Thankfully, he ended up coming back. God, that would have really sucked. So thankfully, he ended up coming back, and that the match
really
actually finished out. So
there was like 2 minutes left on the last pause.
There was not much time left. Yeah,
we were right there where it was almost time to get executive.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, again, I could definitely see it. Like, I guess if you're just looking at the raw stats, it does look like Ari just flat out carried. But in the end, you know, definitely team effort from Fnatic, and it's hard to win a tournament like this just on the back of one player, of course. And so, speaking of that, Slicks was fucking amazing in this tournament.
Slicks was, I think, better than Era.
I was going to bring that up. What do you guys think? Do you think MVP of this tournament, Slicks or Era?
Era. Slicks. You said the word Era.
Hands down.
Yeah, no, Slicks.
Indecisive, huh? Yeah, I think it's Slicks too. I think that's pretty unanimous.
For both of these scenarios we're talking about, I think they're, in my mind, like specific situations that stand out to make it a very clear answer. And I think for Slicks, you have to look at Game 1 from the finals. That was the most incredible Slicks game. Well, one of the most incredible ones that we saw. The fact that they lost that first game pretty handily with that kind of funky super minus armor strategy that looked really good on paper but didn't execute that well. Slicks played Corrupted Disciple and ended the game 8-0-3.
Yeah.
How do you not die in the first game of the finals when, like, your team loses? You know, first game of the finals, I picture you're all in, like, everyone, you know, there's just waves of wiping, everything, sacrifice it all to save the well, and he didn't die. On Corrupted Disciple, it's not like, you know, he's playing Valkyrie or something and he barely gets away with the leap. He's just cruising around on Corrupted Disciple, just like, you know, picking up 8 kills, not dying. I just don't know how he does it. I really don't. I asked him and he just smiled.
Yeah, I know. He's just such a... He really doesn't like to gloat about it. He's just that character in the sense that he's just like, yeah, whatever. I mean...
Just like Slicks. How do you do it, man? I'm all like, I'm sweating, all nerded up and like all over him, and he's just like...
I just
for fun.
just click over here and kill stuff. I don't know. Yeah, he had like 5 or 6 games where he wasn't killed once in throughout this tournament, and that's just absurd. And a couple others, there's only 1 death. I mean, again, I was showing the stats. I mean, his final average kill to death ratio 5.4. The next closest was 2.8, which happened to be Era, but 5.4. I mean,
that's
I can't
so
even,
high.
not many people can even do that in the 1500s, let alone the biggest tournament Hans ever had, at least in prize pool. So. It just doesn't make sense, but...
It was crazy.
I think there was a point where, right when you and I saw that statistic, we took our headsets off and we're both just like, dude, I don't think I could even do that pub stomping if I was being carried. Like, and he's in, like, the biggest tournament of his life right now. Like, it's...
Yeah, so... Amazing performance by him. Unfortunately, not enough to obviously do it in the end. I was also... Shinx was making it clear that Slicks was actually sick throughout the whole event. He constantly had tissues, constantly sneezing, you know, blowing his nose and everything. So that's, you know, that was unfortunate. But obviously, you know, pulling a Michael Jordan performance, I guess, in the finals, coming out sick and throwing up and everything and making big plays. So it wasn't that far, I guess, but still, it's pretty impressive. So while we're on the topic of TT Esports, keeping discussions going, what do you guys think of the MyNuts situation? What do you think WTF would have made things a lot different for TT Esports in the end?
I think it would have helped a lot, but I mean, I think MyNuts played extremely well. But I mean, obviously, you go into an event like that, thinking to yourself, well, we're down a player. It's going to definitely hurt you a little bit. I mean, obviously, you know, they placed first in the group stage and everything, so you got to marginalize it a little bit and say, well, you know, you kind of own. But I think it definitely had an effect. You know, in the finals, stuff like that comes out and really shows itself. So, yeah. I mean, I can't say a huge effect. Obviously, they did play second, but it certainly had some effect.
Right. You hit the nail on the head there, Ken. They placed second. So to say, like, yeah, that would have made a big difference if they WTF is like, all right, so pretty much you're saying they would have won the finals over Fnatic. And I don't know if one player would have made that huge difference because MyNuts did. I mean, it's not like MyNuts was the clear weakling on the team through games or anything. He kept up, if anything, was on par with the rest of the team. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I just always err on the side of their whole team that they've played together with for a long time. They have that sort of unspoken communication where they just know what they're going to do, know how they're going to play. As well as they did with MyNuts and as hard as they trained, you just can't replace all those years of gaming together with that one or whatever specific group of people. So I think it would have helped. I don't know if it would have been enough, though. I think it would have pushed the finals into a Game 3. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's... I mean, really nothing much else to add. It's obviously, you know, team synergy is a big deal. And Leon Black is actually in chat and talking about how it affected their strategy, and you know it's understandable. You know, going into an event, you have this plan, you know, with these 5 players going into a huge event like this, and you know these are the picks that we're going to do against certain teams, perhaps, or this is, you know, here's how we're going to use some strategies, and all of a sudden, your 5th player can't make it, so you have to replace him at the last minute. So, but yeah, I don't think anyone could argue that MyNuts was a weak link by any means. I mean, he definitely stepped up big time, and he was fucking amazing. So, I am very curious. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm just looking at chat. Like Leon Black said, they're both. My Nuts is really good. The problem is just him and WTF have very opposite play styles, and I think that kind of goes into the. Yeah, he played well, but it's just a different. It's just that intangible thing. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I am very curious to see where the roster situation goes from here, though, concerning TTE Sports, because not only is it. I mean, My Nuts is still tagged up. Not that that means anything, because. And very, it's obviously very unlikely for a European to be playing with Australians online, but there's that, and then of course there's the Riser, Bobo, and Leon Black situation. With all that going on, I'm guessing Riser is a part of their A roster still, and so it would be Riser, Leon, WTF, Slicks, and Watalaba, but. I don't know.
Well, I do know. I know two things. One, I know that Bobo is a personal, real-life friend of several people from the team that they've known for a really long time. So he participates. Shinx was telling me that Bobo has participated with the team several times for like Australian LAN events that they've gone to and won. So Bobo's kind of used to being that kind of B player where, yeah, I play with the team, but I recognize that there are people that are going to take it more seriously than me, that kind of stuff. So I would imagine that he'll go back to sort of that B slot, backup, alternate, whatever you want to call it. And I do know that WTF is going to be doing some things on the Garena server. I don't know if it's for that really big tournament, the 160K.
The Malaysian tournament.
Yeah, apparently he has citizenship in Southeast Asia, so he's going to participate in that by himself, I think. I don't really know the details of how it works, but I think he's planning on participating. I don't know if anyone else from TTE Sports is able to do that. Mm-hmm. So that does pose a couple of interesting questions. All right, well, is he going to take a break and Bobo going to fill in for him now? Is it going to be Leon Black, Bobo, Riser, Slicks, and Talaba? Yeah, that could be possible. I don't know. Just the few things I do know in this situation.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. I did hear about that recently as well. I forget who from, but when they said it, I obviously believe them, so I forget who said it. But yeah, that WTF is going to be a part of. I think it might have even been Orange Esports.
It might have been. I think it's a relatively well-known team.
Yeah.
It's not Orange. It's Impunity or MUFC or something.
Maybe. Yeah. So, that's going to be interesting, obviously, to see how that may affect things. So, obviously, $166,000 tournament. Yeah, Leon Black's confirming it was Orange. So, but yeah, $166,000. I mean, it's been like what, 6 months? Maybe a little bit less than that since that was announced. But I still remember hearing about that. I'm just like, holy. That's just for Malaysia. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they got plenty of players there, but dear God, that's a lot of money. So, yeah, can you blame a guy for, wanting to focus over there, especially when very likely going to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite in that tournament? So, in these next couple of weeks, I'm sure we'll, possibly get some answers in terms of the direction TTE Sports is headed when it comes to their roster and whatnot. So we'll have to wait and see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so...
Patience.
Another topic to talk about from the DreamHack event. So maybe now a little bit more not necessarily disappointments, but, they were very close. But, of course, you got Trademark Esports. I'll bring them up first. I mean, what do you guys think about Trademark's performance? They did finish, second in the groups, obviously, tied for second, but they had some impressive victories. So what do you guys think of them?
They finished in the Trademark spot. 4th place.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they normally do?
They got 3rd at NASL. So
yeah, they did get 3rd at NASL.
They got 4th last DreamHack, though, as well. But
I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate because I thought that they played pretty well through a lot of the tournament. But I don't know. It seems like they're just missing one thing to put themselves over the top in these events. Like, it feels like they just need one more little thing to get them to where they want to be. That is obviously with a victory in the event, and I think that you saw that in the NASL 3rd place match. You saw that one thing that they were missing, and I thought they did a really good job in that tournament. But I don't know.
What are they missing?
Really I don't know. I don't know what they're missing.
I'm confused.
Missing something.
Did they lose something? They had it and then they lost it, and they need to find it again. Is that where we're at?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yes. That logic.
All right.
Are you saying that there's a weak link on the team, Ken?
Yeah, I'm not saying there's a weak link on the team. I'm saying that they need.
Tell us who you think the worst player on Trademark is, Ken.
Moon Meander Easy.
Moon Meander Easy.
It's getting moved. Love you.
Zori, what do you think about TDM?
I think I think they were a little underwhelmed not making it to the finals based on how well they did in the group stage, but I think the icing on the cake was getting fourth to Black Fade in that third place match. I think a third place finish would have felt a lot better given their performance to be able to say, oh, we didn't make it to the finals, but at least we got third, kind of hanging your head high. And fourth place is that kind of bittersweet, like, man, we came, yeah, we placed, but
it didn't come strong.
Yeah, it's that really, it's like getting bronze at the Olympics. It's like, no one's going to care about me after this picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Breaky.
Yeah. It's again with finishing fourth in NASL third in NASL, fourth of the previous event. I mean, this was definitely, I think, as hyped as they were before. When they had Swindamelons, obviously that helps too. He's really good at hyping his own team up. But this time not having Swindamelons, but still there was a lot of hype. Just true hype because they were the favorite. They were favorites in a lot of people's mind. I'm not going to lie, including my mind. I mean, I really thought TDM was definitely had a very, very good chance of winning this tournament going into it. I definitely made that point several times. So, and when it came to momentum, when it came to, they were the number one team in the rankings for the previous two rankings before the event. So, obviously a lot of the community agreed on that sentiment too. So, but, just unfortunately didn't fold out in the end. And
I thought it would have been Fnatic versus TDM in the finals. I would have felt comfortable making that bet.
It makes you look back at that TT Esports TDM matchup, remember, where they're both 5-1. They're not only playing for first place, but they were playing to make the choice who they would play in the semifinals as a result of that three-way tie. So it makes you wonder if Trademark Esports happened to win that, would they have ended up playing either TT Esports or Black Fade most likely, possibly, very likely Black Fade, I would think. And then, obviously feeling confident about beating them, and then maybe things would have been a little bit different. So, you look back at that matchup. But, of course, many matchups were very important throughout the group stages. That's what made it so great. But, yeah, it's, that's how it goes, though. You got to win those matches, but they didn't. TT Sports won it, and you could argue that was the ultimate dagger in the heart there for Trademark.
I will say, I think my favorite team that I met as far as people and that I got to socialize with was – next to talking to Nova for a couple hours, I think I had the most fun meeting TDM and talking to them and just getting to know those guys a little bit better, especially on that last day when we were waiting for everybody to fly out. I spent a good deal of time talking to Moonmander and B-Kid at the same time, and their manager, Alex, and the four of us just had a nice talk just kind of about Han, and we talked about Dota 2 and League a little bit, and just one of those nice casual conversations where everyone's so tired and just like, all right, it's finally over. We finished the tournament. Now we just have to take it easy. It was just one of those really nice kind of honest, open conversations that you walk away from just like, you know what? I feel like Moon and I are friends now. This is a really good feeling.
Moon is a great guy. I've said this before. I mean, when I met him at NASL, it's a lot of fun meeting him. So, he is a great guy to definitely just talk with and hang out with. So, I'm sure we'll see him at future events as well.
He is
their whole team. Yeah,
B-Kid is a thug, man. He is awesome. I don't know, something about he just looks tough. I feel safe when I'm around B-Kid, right? At least if a stranger came up and called me a nerd, I could see B-Kid just getting up like, what did you say, son? Pick him up by his collar and just jaw him on.
Yeah. Again, that was a big part of the event. Getting to meet everyone.
Ked's like,
B-Kid will beat you up. Don't mess with that Don't mess with B-Kid. But yeah, and by the way, I mean, we didn't obviously cast a third place match, but now I haven't actually watched the replay. I heard though from both sides that the teams, for whatever reason, and I mean, I guess I understand. Now there was a good amount of money difference on the line in the third place match. I forget the exact amount, but it was a good amount. It was like $3,000 or something, but. You figure that's enough for just one game to play pretty serious, but both teams, they decided to just kind of mess around, apparently. There was a lot of, back and forth, a lot of trash talking, and a lot of, we don't really care that much, so we're just going to have fun with it. It ended up being a pretty epic match, apparently. It lasted over an hour, I think, and came pretty close, but Black Fate, of course, did defeat Trademark Esports there, so just a kind of quick recap of what played out there, but...
Yeah. The Black Fade guys told me about that a little bit. They weren't even playing against TT Esports, and they said every time they got a kill, they would all just yell out, for no reason other than it's just obnoxious.
Sure.
I didn't
find that being pretty annoying.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, that was a big unfortunate thing again. We didn't actually get to see the players in general when they were playing. That kind of sucked. Would have liked to see some shots of them, some. I'm sure I actually have seen a couple pictures, of course, and some video of it, but apparently there was a lot of emotions going on throughout the whole event, throughout the group stages, to the semifinals. So that was pretty cool. So you got TDM there, then Black Fade, of course, the last team that we can pretty much talk about. Of course, they finished 3rd place. Now, going into this event, the European qualifiers, obviously a lot of fan base around them. They haven't been around long, but newer team, young team. They look solid as well, obviously. They defeated Fnatic early on. I know that gave them a lot of boost and momentum. They finished, of course, tied for 2nd, but they ended up losing to TT Esports after being up 1-0 in the semifinals, mind you. I mean, that was... So TT Esports deserving a lot of credit for that, coming from behind there, but Black Fade missing out on that opportunity there. So close to the finals, and now they're disbanded. So,
yeah.
To add that at the end, but...
by the way.
And by the way, Black Fade disbanded, if you didn't know. Apparently there was a lot of issues going into the event with some of the players. Yeah. I'm not going to, say certain. We're not here to cause drama. Go to Dolly Rat for that, whatever, but...
I thought that's what this was all about.
I really don't know the full story, so...
I wish I did. I actually don't.
Ask Keizu, ask Insania. Something to do with this.
Something to do with a girl. Like 2 or 3 of them all liked the same girl, and then they had like a manly duel over it, and they weren't happy about the winner. So, what did they do? They quit their Han team. Of course, that's the next logical step after losing a duel over a woman.
Yeah, of course. So, but apparently that was before. But they still actually played at the event. Obviously, did very well. But yeah, of course, in the end, though, the team did disband. I know LesQQ is going to the army, so that's a legitimate.
I actually sat across from him at the big S2 dinner. I got to know LesQQ a little bit better. I felt so bad. I was talking to him for a good 10 minutes, and I didn't know who it was, trying to figure it out through context clues, at least figure out what team he's on. Wasn't happening. He's too quiet. I couldn't, so I actually had to ask him, and he just laughed at me. He's like, Sayori, we met yesterday. And I'm like, I know, man, but you know how many people I met yesterday?
People. Yeah.
There's a lot of people. You all look a little bit too similar to one another. A lot of the Swedish players have that same kind of short haircut. They're all pretty, fit or skinny, and they have a very similar appearance to one another. So
yeah, there's not many bigger Swedes I know. They seem to be pretty fit. Yeah, individuals. Except
I mean a couple, but I mean yeah.
Wait, he's not even Swedish apparently. He's Danish, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, he's Danish.
Okay, well still, all right. He's European guys.
European people. That's so bad.
The entire continent.
You just made a lot of.
It was the point of the story was that I had a really nice time talking to LesQQ, and he actually was pretty positive about it. He was telling me apparently the military is way different in at least I guess he's Danish, so in Denmark. Apparently it's like a really big honor, and you have to be like perfectly fit. Like you have to have 20/20 vision, and you have to be really strong. You can't have any health problems. And then, even if you have everything perfect, there's still, a waiting list to get in, and it's, real prestigious, and it's really competitive. So I guess he was confident. He either got accepted or was really confident that he will be, so he was really excited about it. And it was sort of it just seemed a lot different from the American take on the military, where for us it's sort of like anybody who'll sign up, it's like, all right, welcome aboard. But so he was kind of genuinely really excited about a big opportunity that I guess, as an American, I couldn't quite relate to. So that was... cool, a little bit of that culture sharing right there, bettering myself, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and a big part of it is definitely that, and that is a side. Unfortunately, a lot of viewers at home don't get to really experience. But if you ever get the chance to, go to DreamHack, and
definitely,
I'm sure you'll be able to hang out with us. So, yeah, I mean, anything you want to add about Black Fade, Ken?
The only thing I would say is that I was very impressed with their performance. One of the things that was a negative about them coming into the event was people were questioning whether they would be able to handle the pressure. It is a LAN tournament after all. None of them really have a vast amount of LAN experience, and I thought that they played very well for that. I mean, obviously getting third is a big deal, but even in the group stages, they played extremely well. So that's the thing I can say about them. And they did break up, but I know that all of those players are still looking to be involved with teams.
Yeah.
So all of them will be around in some capacity. So I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah, that a good point to bring up there. Yeah, it's not like they're quitting Han individually,
No,
but
as
they're
far as
sticking
I've
around. And,
literally, I think, spoken with every one of them.
yeah. Again, obviously,
Actually, I have
QQ.
not spoken to Les QQ, but I know he's playing. He's going to be playing with the team.
Yeah, I was just playing with him yesterday. I mean, he's still playing. It's just I don't know when that thing. But it's only 3 months apparently that he has to be in the army, and then he's done with that. So it's not even that long of a break. So. And yeah, but happy birthday to Insania once again. That was kind of cool. He turned 18 on the final night, I think it was, of the event. So lucky
you crazy
him.
Cat, you.
Lucky him. One final topic I did want to bring up before we move on here was of course, Team It's Gosu. They qualified through the BYOC. They ended up defeating Monomaniac Esports, Swindomelons and their team. So
Swindomelons, Fitski, all those fine gentlemen.
It was apparently, again, we didn't really get to see anything or hear much about it throughout the event, but it apparently was a very good event. There was a couple of upsets, and it played out pretty nicely. A lot of good teams, so as we kind of expected. Well, Team It's Gosu did win it. Now, obviously, bringing up that, but then there was the case, unfortunately, on day number 2, they ended up forfeiting their final, I think it was 4 matches in total, 3 or 4 matches, because they were just simply kaput. They were done, and they also wanted to finish playing in the Swedish tournament, which happened to be at the same time, because they're in the finals of that, and that was pretty much guaranteed money for them. So, I'm kind of curious what you guys, now that we've had time to think about it, and back at home and everything. What do you guys think about that situation overall? I mean,
I'm going to go ahead and let Ziori answer this because I know he's the one who's most passionate about it.
Ken, that was the coolest thing I've ever heard you say to me in a podcast, I think, because you're so exactly right. I actually talked about it in my vlog number 1, and I was really... I spend too much time reading the forums and just absorbing all of that negativity. I don't know why. It's one of those like S&M kind of things where I secretly like the pain, because every time I go on there, I'm just like, guys, come on, you're really bumming me out with all this negativity. Can't we just have a good job thread going here and just fill it with unicorns?
No.
I mean,
no.
So sometimes we just don't
unicorns
have
not allowed.
Quite so negative. So that one thread that eventually got closed by one of the mods, that I was really happy that it did when it did, because it was spiraling out of control with people saying all this stuff like, I hope It's Gosu drops you, I hope your sponsors drop you, you guys have no sportsmanship, any other team would have kept playing even if they weren't going to win, you screwed Orange Esports over because you could have beaten TDM, and this and that, and it just... Somehow it was communicated to everyone. Maybe it was our fault, Breaky, for not saying what happened clearly enough, but I think people were really confused about the situation. It's not really like Team It's Gosu woke up after 8 hours of sleep in their cushy beds and said, you know what? We're only 1-3. I don't really I'm not feeling it. Let's go get drunk. It was like... We've played Han for the past, 15 hours straight. Yeah. We slept for an hour and a half. Now we have to play Han for another 15 hours straight. And, I actually sat between Fitske and... No, at the dinner I sat next to Fitske and across from Pallet. And obviously Fitske playing for Mono Esports, and they were sort of in a similar situation in Pallet for It's Gosu. And they were both just like... it comes to the point where there's just no point in playing. Pallet said... He actually asked me, he was like... I think he was confused about what games we were casting. He was like, did you happen to catch on camera the time that I died to creeps? I was just like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, well, that one game against this team, I just zoned out, and then I looked back, and I was dead to the creeps. I hope you didn't catch it on camera and make fun of me. I'm like, I don't even think we were casting. I don't even think we casted a game that you were in, dude. So don't worry, it wasn't on camera, but there are more immediate problems here. Why are you dying to creeps when there's money on the line? Like, what? He's, and he just said, dude, it comes to the point. I kind of felt the same way casting at 4 a.m. on the first day. It comes to the point where you see the team fight and you're kind of just like reading the text. It looks like Nova's going to pick up a kill over Sender here. All right, Glacia's going down. Like, you can't really make sense of the pixels going that quickly after your eyes are that fatigued. Yeah. So they were just so totally exhausted. And it came to the point where they went 1-3 in the group stage. They lost the teams that they should have beaten, really, if you were in all things equal situation. So there were difficult matches coming up. They're like, there's no way we're going to beat them. The thing that really got people upset was that if Team It's Gosu had continued playing and not given TDM a walkover, and they had beat TDM, then there would have been a draw for TDM and Orange Esports for that 4th seat, and then that would have given Orange Esports the opportunity for a tie break, and hence the opportunity to make it into the semifinals bracket where the top 4 teams go on. that was the big beef that a lot of people had. And while that is a valid point, it's Gosu was like, well, if we can't beat Orange Esports or MUFC right now, how are we going to beat TDM, one of the favorites to win this tournament? It's just not going to happen. So they threw in the towel, and like you said, they focused on the Swedish National Championship. So then the next caveat is, well, you shouldn't have signed up for 2 tournaments if you couldn't handle the schedule. You knew the schedule ahead of time. Blah, blah. They knew that before the tournament started.
They were sure that they could.
Right. They asked admins ahead of time, saying, all right, we want to play in both. Is this going to be possible, or do we have to choose one? And both the Swedish tournament and I guess it was probably Phil, who was the liaison in the player pit, saying, yeah, we can make that work. We'll have the schedule a little more flexible for you guys, and as long as you're willing to put in the time, we can make it work. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Things were overlapping because stuff was behind. There was no real room to say, all right, well, you guys can extend this series so you can play in the other tournament. There wasn't any margin for error anymore. So everything just blew up, and it wasn't really Team It's Gosu's fault. They thought about it ahead of time, and they were told it would work. They did their best, and ultimately it didn't work out because of factors mostly unrelated to them. So I was just a little bit wounded and a little bit disappointed by the individuals on the forums that were so eager to put down Team It's Gosu, despite that situation not really being as much their fault as I think a lot of people thought.
I think the biggest unfortunate problem that I saw people bring it up, and that I kind of agree with, is that in a sense, they did take a spot away from a team that may have been able to actually play throughout it, because a team that may not have... Now, I do know Monomaniac, they actually were also competing in the Swedish Championship, and by the way, they ended up defeating, from what I heard at least, they ended up defeating Team It's Gosu in the finals of the Swedish tournament, so...
so Team It's Gosu didn't even win the Swedish finals.
Yeah, they didn't even win it, but... But that is kind of the fair and valid point, I think, where they did technically take it away from a team that may not have done as well in the main event, but at least would have played out the matches. And you're right, may have upset a team and may have changed everything when it came down to it. So I don't know. But again, in the end, I obviously completely understand where they're coming from. I mean, the schedule was brutal for all of us. And if they were told that they could have competed in both events, that was going to work out, then that really isn't on them. So it is unfortunate, because they are a very good team, and if they were full strength, and if they had as much rest as, which wasn't much, but compared to the other teams, then maybe it would have been a different tournament overall because of that. But in the end, what happened, and
Absolutely. I mean, I bumped into Haxford in the bathroom about an hour or so after they put in the official word that they were going to forfeit, and he just looked... to be honest, he kind of looked like he was about to cry while he was peeing. I mean, he was just genuinely upset, and a few different people told me, actually, that Haxford is one of the few players that truly is just in a situation where he plays this game because he likes it. Not for the money, not really for the fame, but more for kind of that pride factor, where he just wants to play, and at the end of the day be able to say, we did our best, we either won or we didn't. So he was just really... That decision wasn't made lightly, let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, again, it was kind of unfortunate, drama, I guess you could even say, that was brought up, but in the end, Haxton is a great guy. It is a great team, and it just does suck that they weren't able to play, at least not full strength, of course, but definitely... much better strength than at least play it out, because maybe things would have been different, but in the end, what happened, and that's how we got a result. So, yeah, I mean, that was DreamHack, quite the event. Of course, Fnatic once again taking it all, and I guess from here, the question that's been on my mind, as I'm sure a lot of other people, I'm sure you guys have thought about it too. What is Fnatic going to do now after this tournament? I know that they made the point that they're going to take at least a little bit of a break from just gaming it altogether, at least a week or so, because big event. But where do we go from here if you're Fnatic? Obviously, they have been playing some Dota on the side and been focusing on other things. But another win here. I do know that talking to Fly, talking to Nova, they're looking forward to lockpicking, and when these more tournaments are announced, bigger tournaments perhaps, and maybe that will be enough to hopefully keep them around, because it is for the better sake of the community. But
I think Fnatic's
better sake of themselves.
Yeah, that's it.
They're in a weird spot. I get the feeling that they would really like to move on from Han for a whole bunch of reasons. Maybe for the most basic reason of they just want something new. which you can certainly understand after a while. You know, seeing some of those old faces that used to be around Han on Dota 2. I think they kind of want to move on, but right now it's just like, how can we say no to these Han tournaments? How can we say no to a scene where we're one of the best teams, and we've pretty much proven over and over that with some practice and some dedication, we can be the top contender. I mean, there's no other way to say it, really. So it's hard for them to just say, all right, well, let's just abandon all that and try our luck at Dota 2. So they're in this weird, like, well, we want to focus on Dota 2, but we don't really want to move on from Han, so what do we want to do? Well, something in the middle. And they ends up being communicated in a very confusing fashion.
Yeah. Not that this, you know, it's related. It's just it does get kind of annoying how people keep constantly saying Fnatic didn't even need to play Han to win this tournament. Like, they were playing, they literally played in every online tournament before DreamHack. There was maybe one online tournament that they didn't play in that they participated. You know, I hate this what people say of Fnatic switched fully to Dota 2. No, they didn't. I don't care if they said that. They did not. You don't. Fully switching to games means that you don't actually play the other game. That you stop playing the other game. They played Han still, and they have still played Han. So, I don't know. That's kind of a side rant there, but
no, that's true.
It's just fact, is what it is. I mean,
yeah, they still play Han.
They still play Han. So
yeah, they added Dota 2 to the plate, but by no means have they dropped Han. Nor will they for some while, in my opinion. I mean, there comes a point where you just look at the numbers and you're like, how $100,000 is on the line. How could we just say, you know what, I don't want to chance at that, even though we have a good chance at winning a piece of it. I just want to scrim Dota 2. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah, it just, you know, like, I mean, I hate to have this conversation again, but until something changes, it does not make sense for them to play Dota because they're just not good enough at it yet.
Right.
I mean,
and
yeah,
they know that
say,
too.
oh, there's the international, there's all this money you can. It's like, yeah, but you have to be you have to be able to win it. To be able to win it, you know, you can't just be like, oh, well, you know, there's this money, so I'm going to go and lose it.
Yeah.
So, like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So
that's one of the things Nova said, you know, with Dota 2. He's like, obviously we're struggling a little bit because, like, we're just behind. All these other teams that have been just scrimming Dota 2 since it was kind of, you know, in that beta phase where you could start scrimming. He's like, we weren't doing that. We were playing Han. So we're behind all these teams. You know, we aren't that good at Dota 2 yet. We still have a long way to go. It's like, yes, there's some translation between Han and Dota, but it's just they're just in a weird spot where it's hard to sort of analyze their motives because they sort of, I don't know, they're between a rock and a hard place.
Cliche.
Damn it, you guys didn't laugh.
I struggled a little bit. It's not really that much. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see where Fnatic goes from here. It's going to be interesting. Anyways, on that note, again, great event. Fnatic, they took it all, though, so once again, big congratulations to them. A lot more of the VODs. I believe all the VODs now from, other than the Grand Finals, should be up now. We're still having issues with the Grand Finals, unfortunately. Because it was the DreamHack's production side, you know, we're having trouble actually getting the VOD from them, as well as being able to post it, so...
Where are they posted?
The Honcast YouTube.
They're on the Honcast YouTube, but I also actually put them on the Honcast today, Honcast page, so on video on demand.
Oh, so I've been checking the DreamHon.
They should be on the DreamHon site as well eventually. I don't think they're there yet, but they will be there too. They will be. Anyways,
I've gotten a lot of questions about it. That's why I feel bad telling people, just like, I don't know. That's not my jurisdiction, man. I talk. I don't do the post-production. Like, I'm sure they'll be up very soon. I just feel like such an asshole saying that to people.
So yeah, you can definitely check out those for any that you missed, and hopefully the finals will be up as soon as possible. So, all right, but that kind of does it for DreamHack discussion. So I'm sure there'll still be plenty more to talk about, you know, in future podcasts and whatnot. But for now, I think that fills it pretty well. Got about an hour out of it there. Let's move on to the next topic here. Actually, the one thing I wanted to bring up here before we kind of move on to our another discussion was, as I'll pull it on screen here, this event is still going on, guys. This Cooler Master tournament, this $5,000 Cooler Master tournament that I was a couple weeks, I think, before the DreamHack event, of course. that was taking place had to unfortunately get postponed because some teams are starting to leave to DreamHack, and just got postponed after the event. But from my understanding, it is still actually going on. So for those that are curious about it and where things stand right now, yes, I mean, this tournament should still be finishing. As you can see, we have, that's actually TT Esports. They're supposed to be playing Team It's Gosu, and their loser bracket matchup. And the winner of that will play, that's actually A-Man. Instead, it's Big Girls Don't Cry, but they're now known as A-Man. And then in the finals, again, I don't know why CSN does this, but ILX, which is actually Fnatic Recall. ILX is their name from a year and a half ago. Why it's still there is completely beyond me.
Anyone from CSN watching, can we get a hot fix on this, please?
I brought it up several times. I don't know
Still
what it is.
me
It's
crazy.
something about their back end, make it very difficult somehow to change it. I don't know. But anyway, so that is Fnatic Recall in the finals, and they're waiting to see who they play. So yeah, a good amount of money there, $5,000 tournament, like I said, online tournament, and we'll see how that plays out as far as when the matches are going to happen. You know, I haven't necessarily heard exactly anything about it just yet, but that is still supposed to be taking place, so it didn't get outright canceled or anything like that. For those that are wondering, so yeah, thought I'd bring that up there, and hopefully. Yeah, excellent. Questions went. Hopefully some more online tournaments will start happening once again. You know, the last thing we want is DreamHack Winter and nothing happening, and I can assure you that that is being heavily looked at and made sure that that will not happen, so that's the good news. There was a Fnatic did announce that they are hosting another online tournament. I think it's the Fnatic Play, not Fnatic Play, is it?
Yeah,
Fnatic Play tournament? Yeah.
Third play one.
Yeah, I think it's their third play tournament, so I think it's only a $500 prize pool, but still something, and something for teams to participate in, and I'm sure It's Gosu may start throwing some more tournaments back up themselves, and then we got other events, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Who knows? All I can say from the It's Gosu perspective is, don't know. We really don't know. We got a very vague answer back today as far as if money is secured for our tournament series, so all It's Gosu Han stuff is pretty much on hold until we get an answer beyond maybe soon.
All right.
So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with It's Gosu tournaments. There's nothing planned right now as far as It's Gosu resuming for July, unless something changes in the very near future.
Okay. But yeah, we'll see. But again, I'm sure there'll be other tournaments as well. So,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, I thought I'd bring up that. Now to move on to another big discussion, of course, of this podcast. And that would be the top 10 community rankings. Yes, it's actually been 3 weeks now since our last one. It's usually every 2 weeks, but of course with DreamHack happening, it'd be kind of weird to have it at just before DreamHack, or at it even. So decided to wait till after the DreamHack event, then we'll post the next rankings. And as it works every single time, send it out to community members, players, people out there. I send it to like 25 or 30 total even. And then, get 10 responses back, the first 10, put a list together, add up the points, and there you go. There's the Honcast community ranking. So that's how it works. First place gets 10, second place gets 9, and so on, all the way to last place getting 1 point. And there you go. So I think we usually show the official first, right? I think we do. So here is the official top 10 rankings and how they ended up turning out here for the week of June 25th. Here, as you can see, shocker, Fnatic Recall #1, unanimous decision. All first place votes went to them, so yeah, can't say I'm surprised about that. TT Esports follows it up. They remain in second place. Trademark fell to third place after being first the last couple times. Black Fade remained in fourth. Team It's Gosu fell to fifth. Orange Esports went up 4 spots to sixth place, so getting some respect from that event, of course. A-Man remained in 7th, Clan Milk remained in 8th, Monomaniac Esports falling down 3 spots to 9th, and then Better Looking Than You falling down a spot to 10th. So that's how the top 10 actually played out here. Now, for those that, making the points, and again, this was brought up, obviously, some teams did disband. Of course, as we talked about earlier, Black Fade and Monomaniac, I believe, disbanded as well, at least somewhat. Basically made the point that, this is from the previous 3 weeks, really. This is from their very recent results. They still did play. And so, get an idea of where things stand at this point. But, of course, the next poll, they won't be included. But I figure this time around, still at least keep them in, but for the sake of having a solid top 10, because the players are still there. It's just what teams are they going to be with, as we talked about earlier too. So, but anyway, so that's how it played out.
Yeah, as far as the teams disbanding, it's your typical kind of like post-event time to figure out some new stuff.
Yeah.
So,
figure out what the hell's going on. Clan Milk, this actually just hit me. I think Clan Milk's the only team on the list that actually wasn't at DreamHack. And they managed to take 8th, or stay in 8th place, so people still thinking about them despite not going to DreamHack. Yeah, definitely respect right there. The second one of 2 North American teams, of course, on the list. So, Trademark disbanded. No, they did not disband. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of that? Anything stand out to you about that list? Not really.
Almost exactly what I put, I think.
It's pretty close. At least the top 8 or so are pretty damn close to what I had.
Yeah.
I mean, per usual, the bottom 2 are always kind of that.
Yeah.
They're sort of all even, pretty similar. / we haven't seen them participating in much recently, so hard to judge. But it's pretty close to what I put, so I'm not super surprised.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess we can just go over the personal ones now. So,
Sure.
see how ours compared to that of the official rankings. Xander K, we're going to throw you first.
Okay.
Put yours up on the board so as soon as you see it. There you go. So here's Xander K's top 10. Go ahead and explain yourself.
I'm going to sit here and wait for the stream delay. However, I will start, obviously, Fnatic number 1. When you win a tournament as big as DreamHack, you kind of get the bump. TT Esports, I thought they weren't playing as well as maybe they could have going into the event, but they did surprise me, even not with a team member. They still did play very well and obviously got second place, Slick's being a complete freaking badass, so that helps. Trademark 3rd, Black Fade 4th. I know those teams were switched in the actual event, but I'm not only giving Trademark a little bit of a bump from their offline performances, but also that last game didn't really count in my mind, given how they treated it. I'm noticing that It's Gosu and RNG Sports are now switching icons, which is fine with me.
No.
But I do have It's Gosu in 5th. Again, it's unfortunate that they had their problems that they did, but they still are very an extremely talented team. RNG Sports giving them that kind of bump that you talked about, just from the skill that was shown there. So good to them. And then Monomaniacs for placing 2nd BYOC, Iman going down, 90s, and finally Clan Mill.
There you go. So put the 90s on there, giving them some love.
A little bit of respect.
There's actually a good amount of people. They were on the bubble. I think they ended up getting 11th, but they had 18 points, I think it was, and then Fit ended up having 19 points, I believe. So Fit just barely squeaked ahead in the 90s.
Yeah, there's a lot of those teams that are kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
like,
again,
there's a lot of the, like, pretty much all of the BYOC teams almost could be ranked from like 8th to like 15th at any given time.
Yeah. I see people talking about how Haxford has already left Team It's Ghost. So I was talking to him a couple hours ago, and he said he wasn't even certain if that, like, obviously it's been talked about. I know that's a secret, but
he is scrimming with other people.
I do know that.
He
yeah,
has
he
not
has been
left
scrimming
the
with
team.
other people, but yeah, he's still tagged up. And
The fact that he's scrimming with other people doesn't mean much, other than that he wants to practice more than the rest of Team It's Gosu, I would imagine. I mean, if he's online and wants to practice and no one else from TIG is on, what's he going to do? Well, if he wants to play, he's going to scrim with somebody else.
Yes, but it is the same set of 4 people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't...
Take it how you will.
That's where...
I don't know if he is or not. I don't have any good information. So I'm just saying, I haven't heard anything that he has announced that he's officially leaving. He might be, could be, don't want to be, could be that guy, don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
He's a nice dude, that's all I'm saying.
I'll say just again, I talked to him literally a couple hours ago, watching some in-houses, and his words were, he hasn't left Team It's Ghost yet, if that even ever happens. So, implying that there's maybe a chance that they may still work something out. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, but again, as Ken pointed out, this is post DreamHack. It's post a big event, and these things do happen.
Now's the time
these
to
big
shuffle.
events. So yeah, a lot of shuffling going on. I think 4 or 5 of the teams are going through at least a couple roster changes, if not full, team changes. So
a lot of them. Yeah.
All right, we'll pull up Ziori's top 10 here. So
Oh boy,
interesting one there at the end, especially. Curious to see what you say about that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what do you got at your top 10 here?
All right, so the top 4 are the same thing, same as Ken, same as the top 4 that we're actually on. The community list, pretty straightforward. I don't know if we need to rehash those again. The same thing that Ken said about Trademark Esports over Black Fade. For obviously, Black Fade isn't here anymore, so I don't see how you could really put them ahead of TDM. I just think TDM's longevity grants them the 3rd place spot. Team goes to at 5th because of their performance. Pretty easy. Mono Maniac Esports, of course, they're kind of on par with Team Itsugosu, and Itsugosu beat them in the BYOC to get to the group stage, but they lost to Mono in the finals of the Swedish qualifier. So you could argue they're pretty even, a pretty good matchup. 5-6 slot. Team Itsugosu's just been a little bit more stable. Not that that's really saying much because they haven't been that stable. So this is when things kind of get interesting down to the 7th slot. I finally manned up. I was like, you know what, Peter, your team stepped up. And I have to say, I did meet Peter at the event. We shook hands, kind of apologized for some of the words that have been exchanged on the internet in the past. So, kind of got over the Peter Pandam, whatever you want to call it, tilt. And, his team was there. And, any team that will come out to DreamHack, I think that shows something about them. And actually, I don't think they did that well. I think they were eliminated in round of 8 in the BYOC, something like that.
I'm in.
They lost in the quarterfinals. No, they lost in the quarterfinals. They got knocked out by the 90s. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So there you go. So
yes, I remember looking at the final.
At least they came out. The fact that they were willing to travel there, however the means were of that, whether it was early graduation gifts, they just had some money stuffed away, however they did it. In my mind, that's just like, wow, that's a team that is, despite the name changes, stepping up to some degree. Han Portal, Han Portal's a new team now. That's Cat Lomain's.
I think it's Clank.
No. Cat Lomain's team. Yeah. It's now Portal. I don't know, man. We're getting to that point where everything's all shuffled around.
I don't even know if they're port anymore, to be honest. So
if they're not even port anymore, then we could probably just say sorry. In my mind, Han Portal's that team. It's like the name that keeps getting applied to all these ragtag groups of people. So I thought it was a safe bet. Lion. Honestly, I don't know what the Lion team is, and it's sort of like Han Portal, where we've seen a few different teams under that title. But like I said, at the dinner, I got to sit next to Fitsuke, and way back, like last November or something, on my old podcast that I don't do anymore, the Gosu Complex, I interviewed Fitsuke. So like I've actually gotten to know him pretty well online, so it was really cool to be able to get to know him a lot better in person. And he was telling me that he's planning on playing and some Dota 2 stuff, but he's going to be playing Han. And whatever team that is what I consider to be Lion. So Fitsuke, how we talked about all those players are still going to be around, but where are they going to end up? Whoever ends up playing with Fitsuke under what I just sort of assumed would be the Lion title. I don't really know if that's what they're going to be called.
Wait, what?
Do you know what that?
No, I have no clue, to be honest. So wait, you wanted to choose a team that basically Fitsuke and whoever else is what?
Well, yeah, those Lion guys. Who else was on the wasn't Fitsuke on Lion originally? That was
that was one of those Era and My Nuts, and that was NASL.
Right.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, there was some Lion action during my time casting Han after NASL, right? Yes. Who was on it? I don't remember, but there I've casted some Lions.
There was a team that came back for the Dream Han event for the qualifiers. That wasn't the same Lions team by any means.
The current Lions team is Skyzo is leading it, but it's also included people like I think Jonas Fan and Kicker.
Yeah, I think Jonas Fan was part of that. Yeah.
Okay, that was sort of what I was going with. From my understanding, without a lot of detail, was that a team centered around that is going to be forming and being really serious here coming up soon.
Really? Fitsuke said that, okay.
And it's that kind of classic team where it's like, all right, these guys have been playing together. It's sort of like Black Fade, you know, a group of guys that have all been playing together in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in-houses or just scrims for a while, and they're finally going to get a team going. Now, like I said, I don't know 100% that they're going to be under the Lion flag, but that was just sort of the vibe that I got from the things I picked up talking to players. So that's what that one is. Sort of a weird one, but it's that sort of, I don't know, you know, they're all powerful players. I think once they start practicing, they'll be really powerful. Yep. It just sounds silly because I can't list off which 5 players it's going to be. So sorry, that was a little too... Maybe I put too much thought into this week's top 10, Breaky. I don't know.
No, I mean, I kind of understand where you're trying to go with it, but it was very odd seeing that Lions team, and that's what I was going to say.
All right. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit.
Maybe I should have actually talked to you about it before I just straight up put you on the spot here.
Team X, Team Fitzgay, whatever, man. Like those group of guys that are all really good at the game but aren't really on a team right now, that networking's happening.
Yeah.
And of course the 90s in the last spot, just seeing that upset, seeing them in the semifinals of the BYOC. We casted the 90s at least once in the past, maybe in the qualifiers. So, you know, I think they deserved a shot at the 10th spot this week.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely argue that they've, again, they upset A-Man in the BYOC even, and got to the semifinals. So, now the thing that stands out to me is no Orange Esports Malaysia. I don't know if that was on purpose or...
No, it wasn't. I always forget a team. Crap.
I'm just pointing.
You know what? All right, let's forget about that whole port thing. Just replace.
Let's just replace that Lion team that randomly exists.
I'm really sorry. You know, I have a trouble with this top 10. I put too much thought into things that don't matter, not enough thought into, okay, what are the teams I actually absolutely have to include? So you're right, Breaky. That's my bad.
It's okay.
That's my bad.
Now we'll go to the correct one. Since Phil's not here, it's mine. All right. So as you can see, again, I think we all did the same top 4 actually.
Oh, there you go.
No, that'll be mine.
Never mind.
We all did have the same top 4: Fnatic, TT Sports, Trademark, Blackface. Or I guess not. But anyways, Orange Esports I put 5th. I not only from what I personally saw of them, but from talking to a lot of the teams. This is a team that, especially on the LAN setting, and they did get pretty damn close to actually qualifying for the semifinals. I mean, I think people tend to not realize that because, again, we got the big 4 teams. So everyone's like, oh, is what was expected. But, I mean, they were 4-3. They had an upset victory over the eventual tournament champions in Fnatic Recall. They were actually pretty damn close to qualifying and moving on and maybe even being bigger after this event. So definitely all the respect to get 5th. Team Gosu, you know, again, it's kind of a mix of feelings. Obviously, they had quite the grind in the BYOC. I've always considered them a very solid team. I think they were 3rd, actually, in the last rankings. Moved down to 5th now overall, but 6th on my list. A team that has, you know, and again, with the whole forfeiting and whatnot, and with them then losing even in the Swedish Championship finals, and then there's been talks about, is a team even going to be around? So, you know, just taking away a little bit altogether, I just felt like I got to put Orange over them just for the sake of that. So, bumping them down to 6th. A-Man, 7th again. Monomaniac, again, I think they've disbanded at this point, and so that's unfortunate, but we'll see where those players go from here. But still, I had to put them 8th. Better looking than you. I've always been a fan of Panny and crew. I think they've had some solid results to back that up. I think they are also a team that may be going through some changes, so we'll see. And then Clan Milk, I got to give them some love, you know, putting them on the top 10 too. And again, I don't think it's their fault. Well, you know, technically it is their fault that they didn't go to DreamHack because they didn't win the North American qualifiers. But you know, I can't say anyone's too surprised about that. But I think it's still a scary team, and you know, with the online play coming back once again, we'll see what Clan Milk brings to the table. This new roster, I mean, they got the cookies, creams. Milk Fat, and I believe Moravis is actually still playing with them the last I heard, so as long as they still got him especially, then be very scared. So
I think Moravis needs a name change. He doesn't fit in.
With the cookies and creams and Milk Fat and
there's so much goodies.
Everyone else.
Like Moravis.
Yeah. And then Moravis, the serious player. Yeah, so there you go. There's my top 10. Again, the official one right here, guys, for those that may have missed it, or just to compare one more time. This is how it officially played out. Again, I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but I was looking to see if anyone would have put TT Esports at least first over Fnatic. because Fnatic, they were 5th going into this in the last rankings, and TT Esports did get very close, and they did beat them in the group stages, and so.
Yeah,
but
I had that thought where it's a little bit of a toss-up, but it's just after a huge event like that, it's just hard to argue with raw results from a big tournament. You can never in a tournament like that, you can really never make that case. Like, they didn't really care enough. They weren't really trying. Sure, there were other things. WTF not being there, stuff that prevents it from being that both teams at the 100% maximum. But I just think those results speak pretty loudly.
I apologize. Fnatic actually beat TT Sports in the group stage as well. For some reason, I guess I was even thinking about the last DreamHack, but so yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what TT Esports only dropped a game in the group to Fnatic. Okay.
That was their only loss. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not surprised by any means, but I was interested to see if anyone would have done it. Would have been curious to see what they had to say about it, but nobody did. All 10. Went to Fnatic, but again, deserving, so we'll see where it goes from here. So, again, 2 weeks from now, expect the new top 10 rankings and hopefully a couple tournaments in between to help us gauge some differences, and hopefully, we get more new teams as a result of all these rosters changing around and everything to see what they bring to the table. So, there you go. There's the top 10, guys. Fun with that. The last thing we wanted to talk about here, before wrapping up the podcast, wanted to now bring up the whole lockpicking discussion. Of course, lockpicking did come out. What was it? Just last Friday, actually.
Friday.
Recently,
Yep.
Yeah, not even a week ago.
4 days ago.
I'm damn excited about this. I mean, it kind of, as a caster, obviously a different perspective, but I'm really intrigued to see how different things are now as a result of this, because obviously the picking stage is only one part of the game, and a lot of people may consider it to be slow and boring, but I personally find it very intriguing and interesting to see how it plays out, and this is going to be much different. So,
yeah, yeah, I'm excited as well. I actually haven't casted any lockpicking games. I've been I've been mindful of Heroes of New Earth, like logging on and trying to see, all right, are there any scrims going on right now if I have some free time? Is there a scrim that I could just hop into, even if I don't stream it, just kind of get a feel for what everyone's up to? And there have been some, but not too many, at least not in the 10 o'clock a.m. time window when I'm interested in watching streams.
Jeez.
So I was actually planning on looking at some games that I downloaded
constantly.
Tomorrow, huh?
Not streaming. They're scrimming constantly.
Yeah,
Well,
I was in 3 or 4 different
I'm watching one right
in-houses today that actually were playing with lockpicking. So,
what's the primary time window when I'll be most likely to find scrims? Because I've clearly been missing it.
In the afternoon, like anywhere from 2 to 6, I think is a good time.
Okay, I've been thinking Europeans will be scrimming, so I've been getting up like around 10 o'clock a.m. is kind of, I'm like, all right, I did all my crap I need to do this morning.
I think it's more in-houses now than actual scrims, so it takes away a little bit from it, but still, it gets you an idea of how people are using it, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, anyway, I've downloaded some replays that I was kind of planning on looking at tomorrow on stream just to sort of see. I'm actually really excited about it to see how the players react to it. My one concern, and I don't know, how long does it take? Does the lock picking actually take longer than banning pick? Or is it close to the same?
Lock pick can take longer than banning pick. From my experience, it takes a little bit longer. I haven't sat there with a fucking stopwatch and been like timed it and everything, but it seems like it does take a little bit longer. And I have heard some complaints from some players saying that maybe it takes a little bit too long, but so I believe it does. But
because there's definitely, I mean, from the casting perspective, there have been times where just the banning pick phase almost feels like it's a little too long. Where we're kind of sitting there just like, all right, if they use all that extra time, sort of run out of stuff to say a little bit. So that's one just concern that I have just in general with it. I mean, obviously, I think it's a really cool idea, and I think as long as most of the teams and players are really excited about it and, aren't just like, oh, this is stupid, I don't want to play in the tournament because it has lock picking. I mean, as long as everyone's as excited about it and seeing how cool it actually is, I think it's a good idea. But obviously, with any big change to the game, there are just potential pitfalls that can come about.
Yeah.
That, and I'm going to have to relearn all the strategy, which I don't know if I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just you; it's everyone. I mean, things are going to be different for everyone. So that's the fun part.
Yeah, I mean the teams are very much in a getting used to it kind of mode at this point. Some people have gripes about it. Some people are in a very much a we have to let it settle and see what kind of develops out of it. It's in the end, it's a brand new picking mode. There's a lot of things that people. I mean, I've watched quite a few lockpick streams. I haven't seen people try some things. I haven't even seen people consider it. I'm watching literally the first one now that I'm watching is when I'm watching one right now where the teams actually purposely trolled each other, and just I'm curious to see what happened. Like in this game, there's a Shadow Blade, a Draconis, and a Drunken Master. So we'll see how that goes. But like. There's a lot of different things that are open for for teams to do. I think it's just a matter of them going and figuring them out.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing at this point. And teams right. Obviously, the thing they started out doing is just picking out all the things that they know are super good, and playing with that for a while. And I'm waiting for the teams to move on to something different. Maybe it is picking like bad heroes to see what happens there.
Yeah,
it's just
it's like I said, it's so brand new. It's hard for them to really get complete grasp of it in the first couple days, and that's the biggest thing I can put forth not only to everyone but to the competitors is to give it some time and let it settle and see what you come up with as far as strategies.
It's just like any other metagame shift. I mean, except obviously this one's a lot more forced than other ones, but and maybe even more dramatic in that sense because it is a completely different new picking stage. But yeah, you're gonna have to give it time, and it's just hands down that's how it's going to be. You can't expect it to pick the same exact way you're used to picking, and expect that still to work all perfectly and be the same because it won't. I mean, that's of course what you get out of this. So yeah. it's gonna be fun.
I agree. It's definitely going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds. What I'm really interested in is to see what kind of impact it has on, we keep talking about that fresh start. Is that really going to come true? Is it just going to be a case where the teams that have the best drafters now, those guys are going to have a leg up and those drafters will continue to be the best drafters and not that much is going to change? Or are we going to see, some of these foreign teams, SEA, CIS, whatever you want to call the teams that aren't on the international client, is there going to be a huge shift where, they have this huge breakthrough where it's like, wow, we figured out lockpicking way before you guys on the international client? That would be really crazy. And I think that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But we'll have, like you said, we'll have to wait and see. With anything that's new, it just takes experimentation and more games being played. I just wanted to say I actually really like that YouTube video that was posted sort of explaining lockpicking because when I was first explained to, I was really confused. Yeah. And I think that video
The visual of it is very good, yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's one of those videos where it's 2 minutes and you really only, at least when I watched it, I was like, all right, I really only care about the last 30 seconds here that shows me what's happening. But I thought that video was a really clear, concise way to explain what's happening because one of my big fears was from the casual viewer perspective. Those people that only tune in for those really big events, are they going to be able to understand the theory crafting of lockpicking just by tuning into one random game, hit or miss? So at least having that resource there, I think, helps curb some of that casual viewer learning curve.
It got me excited to play an actual competitive game of Han, and I can't be the only one out there that got that excitement. Where I went home on Friday, I put my stream up, and maybe it's a little bit easier for me to get random viewers to just join me up in group of 5 and just queue up for it. But if you look hard enough, then I'm sure you can get a group of 5 friends if you don't have them that already, and queue up for the competitive mode, which is lockpicking. So. Yeah, and it was fun, experiencing that, the tournament rules, the lockpicking mode, and I did get the chance to actually do the blind ban, then the lockpick, and then the ban, and then the picking. So it's intimidating at first. It's very intimidating at first. I'll say that much, but it does get more enjoyable as time goes on. So yeah, I want to continue watching these streams, watching these in-houses, spectating in game, and getting an idea of where teams are. And again, I really can't wait for that first tournament. I don't know if the Fnatic Play tournament is going to be lockpicking or not. I didn't check on that.
I just assumed that it was, but that actually is an interesting point.
Yeah, well, because again, it's still obviously very, very new. So I wouldn't be surprised if still tournaments are going with banning pick, at least for now.
I could see. But that's actually interesting. I would be really curious.
Cup number 3. Let's see.
There's no rule set listed.
They're just going to leave it open?
Yeah, do what you want. Do lockpicking, don't do lock. We don't care.
Caster's choice. I like that.
Yeah.
We get to choose which heroes get locked. I like that even better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I played yesterday too with Panny and Kezu. I tried my best to carry them as an Amphora, but they didn't let me. It was difficult. So, but yeah, no, and again, I know I can't be the only one out there, but once we have that first tournament that comes to play, bigger tournament especially that uses lock picking, and we start seeing it more, from replays, from Honcast, from other casting sites, whatever, then that's where I think that a lot of people are going to finally realize, like, all right, this is what it's about. This is what it's going to bring to the table, and now we're really excited. Because now, a lot of people, it is, again, you do have to have 5 people to queue up for it, so not everyone is able to enjoy it right now, but we'll wait and see when that happens, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one other downside, that it really does require kind of a group up. I understand why it's not available just as a singleton queue, because that would be silly.
It is made for competitive. This is like the competitive mode, and again, that's what they're calling it, so.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I do wish that there was some kind of channel or some way to maybe like I know from Counter-Strike, from going old school, IRC, you join Find Ringer, you join Find Scrim. There's channels like that where you can just join and have all these people that you just type in a message saying looking for this many more or whatever, and get all these PMs. So possibly that is something that's going to be in the works to help with that, but we'll see. Yeah, Cal Scrim, exactly.
Cal Scrim, oh my god.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's exciting, and now there have been a mix of emotions. I was talking about earlier how, especially Fly, you think of drafters, Fly is definitely a name that comes to mind. Initially, he seemed very intrigued by the idea. Very initially, he was like, "Fuck this," but then talking about it a little bit more, and it's like, "Oh, right, we'll see where it goes." I did hear that he was apparently playing today, and he wasn't too much of a fan of it initially. But again, you got to give it time. It's going to take time, guys. You can't just have a first reaction and be like, nope, screw this, we're done with it, fuck it, let's move on. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Fly is a really competent individual who will be able to pick it up and learn it, but from his perspective, he's like a master banning pick drafter. Like, he's, like as you said, he's a world-class banning pick drafter. So just for his own selfish needs, just say, wow, this thing that I've become totally proficient in is now not the way we're doing it anymore. Like,
yeah,
that's you, true. Breaky, pulling the rug out from under me?
No, me. My choice. Although I do like it. But yeah, no, that's actually a good point to bring up, too. Maybe it is more of that, where it's just him.
I mean, I'd be upset.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's understandable, very understandable, so. Yeah, give it a couple weeks. Wait for the first tournament at the very least before you give your ultimate decision on it. Is all I'm asking for personally. For the sake of letting it, at least giving it a chance. So.
Just give it a chance.
Give it a chance, man. That's all I'm asking for. All right. Yeah, but anything else you guys want to mention about that, or? I don't know.
No, I don't have anything else about lockpicking.
So much else here.
Go play it.
Go play it, exactly. Get 5 people.
Go play it and be creative. Try stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to see.
There's no money on the line right now. So go and try stuff.
Right now.
There may or may not be money on the line in the near future, but there's no money on the line right now.
Yeah,
it's true, though. This really is the best time to do. Anytime something's new, like beta, any sort of a beta thing, that's the time to play. That's your time, like, when everyone's new. So if you try stuff and it doesn't work, people are going to be less likely to be like, man, you ruined this game, you're an idiot. It's like, well, everybody's ruining games because they don't know what's going on. So get out there and experiment. Put on that creativity hat.
Oh, I picked Scout. My second game as captain. I know my team loved it. I did well. My team sucked. That was the only problem. Yeah. Anything else to talk about, Ken? Maybe something that's coming out this Friday?
Yeah, as some of the chat is pointing out, there is an item rework coming out on Friday.
So I guess that was announced.
That was announced.
Yes. I did see people bring that up, and I wasn't sure if
it was announced.
Random.
Like, we were playing S2 Plays on Friday, and we were talking about stuff, and Brad is just like, "Yeah, new item rework coming out next week," and I'm like, "Oh." There that is.
I guess it is.
Totally happening next week. So yeah, that's Friday.
Sacrificial Stone, man, finally.
Finally Sackstone.
Maybe we'll actually be seeing it.
Yeah, so that's something to be very excited about, because not only is it a brand, it's a totally different item, but it serves a totally different role, which is the interesting thing about it. So it's no longer I'm Defiler and I'm going to get this item when I have a buttload of farm. It's a different item. It's very different.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to be happy about it.
I'm a little sad about the Sackstone rework.
It's okay, because it's still there, and kind of, you'll see.
I know. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, something about Sackstone really, it really gets me going, man. Something about that item. I like it a lot, and I wish there was just one pro player that was on my side that was like, you know what, going Z-Freak style. People say Legionnaire sucks. What does Z-Freak do? I'm going Legionnaire this turn. I'm going to show you guys what's going on. I want one person to step up and do that with Sackstone before it gets changed forever.
Listen to Ken, though.
I already said.
Wait, say it one more time, Ken.
I said, maybe it's not totally not gone. Maybe it's a little bit
not
there.
Totally disappearing.
Kind of there in a way.
All right. Well, I mean, I just mean...
wait for Friday to really see for sure what I'm talking about.
I just wish
Sackstone is terrible.
I just wish one credible source would hop aboard the Zayori bandwagon and say, you know what, Zayori, you're right. And then next game we see Sender with one on Glacius. I want that to happen one day.
Well,
good luck.
Wait until after Friday, and maybe you'll see Sender with one on Glacius.
All right. Fine.
I mean, if Sackstone buys the new Sackstone.
All right,
there you go. There was your little bit of a hint of what's to come this Friday, guys.
There's more stuff Friday too, but that's the big thing.
Obviously, yeah, that's the big part of it. But yeah, that's actually good to bring up. It's not just that. I mean, it's actually a fairly good patch. So.
Oh yeah.
Looking forward to some good changes this weekend and having fun and trying out those changes, of course, in lockpicking with you and your friends. So it's going to be fun, guys. It's obviously with the DreamHack event, that's been our focus, and now that that's wrapped up, moving on from here, again, the Cooler Master Tournament, we're going to focus on that and see when that finishes up, and then from there, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Something may be announced in the near future.
Maybe.
Something going to be coming up. Very possible. Just saying. So
also, to give the chat a little bit more, and someone also mentioned this, Grave Locket is going into tournament mode.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really? Interesting. I don't... Are there any heroes going into tournament mode as well?
Berserker?
There are two.
Berserker.
Berserker and Draconis.
Oh, there you go. Berserker and Draconis.
Ken, you just made my Wednesday night.
Berserker is going to fucking tear stuff up.
Berserker Rex.
He's gonna be dangerous in competitive on. I feel it.
Draconis is not doing bad in the game that I'm currently watching.
Oh, is he actually being played? They picked him
up? He got locked.
Yeah, no, Draconis is solid too. I mean, I don't personally have too much experience with him, but I do know he can get a crazy ranged damage.
A few people have actually asked me during live breakdowns, just like, Zayori, what do you think about Draconis in the competitive scene? How are things going to change? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah. I think Berserker,
lockpicking, couple new heroes, Sackstone rework. I mean, guys, it's obviously DreamHack's finished, but still plenty to come.
Berserker, dude, I think that guy is sick beyond all comprehension. I don't know. I hope someone steps up with some big Berserker plays coming up here. Yeah. Because I think he's got potential to be a pretty damn strong hero.
Not only strong hero, but very entertaining hero. I mean, the hero revolves around charging into people and tearing through them like they're nothing. Like that's the whole concept of the hero. Is like going in, even though it looks like you may be in a bad situation, and tearing them up. So it's gonna be awesome.
Someone said put Era on Draconis, bad things will happen.
Yeah.
Draconis is another one of those heroes that when he gets a lot of farm, you just don't want to go near him. Like you're just like, no, I'd rather just be over here instead. Because
is Berserker a carry? I don't even know if he's classified as a carry.
I think
he's a buy in Sanitarius and do 500 damage to people.
Yeah, he's a strength. The thing about Berserker is that he benefits from building tanky. I mean, obviously there are some core items you need for DPS, but he does his ult does damage based on percentage of max health. That's where your bonus comes from. Yeah. So if you go to that late game and you go for a Behemoth Heart and these other really tanky items that you see, heroes like Magebane getting sometimes, but not only getting one benefit, Berserker gets a double whammy from that. So in the late game, I mean, I have trouble, I just picture him as this like unstoppable force that also does an absurd amount of damage. It's going to be scary.
It's going to be
Berserker runs forward. That's how Berserker plays. He goes, I'm going to go that way.
Yeah,
and then he just goes until it stops. And that's it.
No, I don't know why people are... We announced the Fnatic...
We talked about it earlier. I don't know why.
Yeah, the Fnatic Cup earlier. We know it exists.
Okay. We even had a small discussion about is Lockpick in the Fnatic tournament?
Yeah.
Like we talked about this. Come on.
Yeah, we had a pretty meaningful conversation. Every time I hear Berserker, I think of that Kevin Smith movie Clerks with that like the Russian guy who's.
Well, that was the line for the pick sound.
It is? Are you serious?
Come on. It was my love for you was like a truck. That's what it was.
Mind blowing.
Berserker! Oh my God. That's why when you said it, I was just like, that sounds really familiar. And my mind was just blown. Holy shit biscuits, dude. That is insane. All right, I'm about to play some Berserker after this.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it, though. They can start wrapping up here, guys. So, again, DreamHack in the books, but competitive fun. We're excited about it, as you can tell, I'm sure. And you should be, too, because there's definitely some great things coming, guys, with the new modes, some more heroes, some reworking the items. Of course, some possible tournament announcements in the near future. We'll see.
Also, the Fnatic tournament is not what we're talking about when we say possible tournaments.
Yeah. And it's a great event and everything. It's good that they're running it, but no, that's definitely not what we're referring to. But we'll see. We'll very likely cover the semifinals and finals of that. It looks like that is actually on Friday, so expect some coverage on that possibly. And that is if it's allowed, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, there will definitely be coverage in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I would imagine
provided at Fnatic TV exclusively. So maybe not. Maybe we won't cover it. I don't know. So maybe you have to check out their stream to cover it. But anyways, it's going to be covered regardless. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Always a lot of fun. Obviously, worst worst, we'll be doing a podcast next week, I'm sure. And expect plenty to come from Competitive Heroes New Earth because it's going to be fun, guys. A lot coming, as we've been talking about. But before we officially wrap it up, go through the board. Xander K, any shout-outs you want to make here?
Many, of course. First of all, Mr. Handcake in the chat bringing up a tweet that Diva sent out earlier. It said, another DreamHack event sooner than you would think. So there's that. Also, shout-outs to my lovely fiance, as always, to all of you fun people in this podcast. Everyone's tuned in to watch it. The whole competitive scene who I talked with at great length at DreamHack, especially people like Z-Freak and Sender, like Nova, who, gotta say, Nova's one of the best guys to just sit and have a drink with, so shout-outs to Nova.
You were drinking with them all night long.
Well, like, everyone else, like, we're at the Twitch party, and, like, everyone else is just, like, off doing other stuff and, like, being rambunctious, and I just was, like, tired, and I just wanted to hang out, and Nova was just sitting there having a drink, and I'm like, alright, what's up, Nova? So we just sat there and drank together.
I was busting some moves with Moon Meander on the floor.
Yeah, Moon Meander. All of TDM apparently has moves, so shout out to that. Shout out to Street, who's like honestly one of my favorite things about going to DreamHack is going to see Street and being like, "Sup, buddy?" He's a good guy. So I'm looking forward to next DreamHack so I can go see those fine gentlemen again. And everyone else on the stream, come to DreamHack. Come to whatever other event we might have. Just come say hello. We like saying hello. So there's that.
We do. We don't bite. Ziori, shout-outs you got.
Well, I'm going to steal a couple of Ken's shout-outs. Shout-out to, of course, everybody I met at DreamHack, in particular a couple of players. Like I mentioned, meeting Moon Meander and B-Kid was really kind of the highlight of talking to players, talking to Nova as well. I did get to meet a lot of really cool people, and I think the big S2 dinner that we did that brought everybody together at the end, or not that we did, that S2 did, I think that was a really, really good idea, and I think it was really successful. I think it was just really cool to get everybody who was there participating in the event in one place, give everybody that opportunity, to give a little speech, say thank yous, just, get to know each other over a couple of drinks as actual people. I just thought was a really cool idea, and at the end of that night, I just felt really good about myself and all these relationships that I've been building online for the past 8 months or what have you. So that was really cool. Of course, the event was really awesome from my perspective. I had a great time, so that was cool. Big shout out to everybody tuning in, everybody following the Han scene. I'm looking forward to things on the horizon as well. Of course, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Cellular TV, very easy guy to find right about now.
There you go. And for myself, one more time to reiterate, awesome meeting the players. Big shout out to all the players that have definitely stuck through everything, and good seeing you at the event once again. Looking forward to seeing you at DreamHack Winter for those that are going to be there. You, the community, as always, guys. Love you guys. Without you, wouldn't be here in the first place. Truly do mean that. So, big shout out as well to the staff of S2 and the production, everyone. Especially at the event. Obviously, a lot of hard work went into that. A lot of sleepless nights once again, but a lot of fun. So
that'll happen.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. That is going to officially do it here on June 27, 2012. Honcast Weekly Podcast officially over. Have a good night, guys. See you next time.